I realized what I enjoy doing. I like solving problems, helping people, and I really like learning. But I have no idea how to actually like put that into a career or.
That's my whole job, right there. You
right
just
there,
said it. Yeah, that's the whole job.
It's a good interview.
When I retire, I'll give you a call. Yeah. When I was in high school, because I hated high school, hated it, I would go hang out in the little room where they had all the college catalogs, because no one else was there. And I thought that that was fascinating, that all these things you could study and all these great programs. So I was already predisposed to want to go to college. My dad was the first and only in his family who went to college. But because my dad went to college, my brothers and I knew that we were going to go to college. So the college seed was already in my brain. As it turns out, because I really hated high school, I dropped out. And I decided, well, I'm a good student, I know stuff, I don't need a high school diploma. And so that, I tell people, was my first lesson of becoming an administrator, is figuring out which rules are necessary and which rules you don't really need. So I started college when I was 17, went for a little bit at a nearby place, and then knew I was just itching to get out. And then I'm applying as a transfer student to the University of California, and they go year of your high school diploma. And so I just wrote a little asterisk and said, special program done early. And no one's ever asked me. They accepted, because I've got good grades from a bona fide 4-year college. Yeah, so that worked. Went to California for a little bit. Found that to be a huge system, was really pretty overwhelmed after my little liberal arts thing. Quit again. What was working, of course. Stopped going because I didn't know what I wanted to do. It cost money. I'm in this strange place. The University of California, Berkeley is huge. So it was more about, we design these big elaborate degree programs, but oftentimes students make decisions based on how much more do I have to do till I get out. And so I had lots of the prereqs done. It didn't require too much of anything else other than what I was already taking. It was in line kind of with what I was interested in.
Sounds like psych related.
Yeah, it was psych light. Yeah, or psych different. University of Chicago would be offended if I called it psych light. He said, history, have you ever seen a history store, Melissa? In other words, what the heck do you do with a history? You don't sell it, no one wants to buy history. I went out and worked in New Orleans. I was a school social worker. So, and I really liked working with, the misbehaving teenagers in high schools. Since as a high school dropout, I felt like, I thought I found my people. If I'm good at something, I thought that meant that it was easy, as opposed to if I'm good at it, then why don't you explore that, Melissa? How to balance doing something difficult, but getting done. I typically erred on the side of get it done. Yeah, that's a younger brain thinking. If I'm good at it, I was discounting it. And that was my learning from social work, because I was good at hearing people's stories or dealing with conflict or being a people, understanding people to some extent. I thought, well, everyone's good at that. I hear that from students all the time. No, I'm good at it, but it's easy. No, you're good at it. Doesn't mean it's easy. It's hard for someone else, but you're good at it, so own that. And go with it. Good student, I'd go and read, and I started really developing an interest in research. So I thought first instinct was it's too hard, don't bother. Second, okay, Melissa, get over that, because it's hard, doesn't mean that you shouldn't bother. And the other thing was, but I want it to be done. But if I'm interested in research, that requires a PhD. So now what do I do? Did my PhD, found it really interesting. There were 2 paths in that doctoral program. One path for people who think they're going to work at a university and teach one day, and one path for people who who were going to be practitioners, they were going to be clinicians.
Gotcha.
And so I said, well, I'm a clinician, I'm not going to go work at a university, it takes too long.
Trying to get out of
I'm trying to get out, you got the thing. So you see how clairvoyant I am, and where I went for the PhD that had to do with practice, not PhD that had to do with teaching. But all the while, my interests were around doing research. I discovered I liked teaching. So I had it wrong. I was so busy with the short-term goals of earn enough money to pay your tuition, try to stay out of debt. But truly, I'm doing now what I probably should have been doing had I gotten there more directly, that I do love working in the university. And the first story about sitting in that little area outside the library looking at college catalogs is really what I was passionate about. And my dissertation is dedicated to, because I was pregnant again, dedicated to my unborn child for giving me a deadline. Things just started falling into place where I'm trying to have my practice as a therapist, and I was working for an agency, and I'm teaching, and increasingly it was my teaching that was in greater demand. Students liked me as an instructor. And after I got tenure, the dean came to me and said, well, we need a department chair. We're going to do a national search. I'd like you to apply. I don't know if you're going to get it, but I think you're organized, you're balancing all. He knew I had a private practice, I was doing consulting, and I'm teaching, and I did enough research to get tenure. And he said, you're organized, you get stuff done. Why don't you apply? And I said, I don't want to be an administrator. I don't even know if I want to work at a university. He goes, well, think about it. So I thought about it, I applied, I got the job, and basically it was a perfect fit, because as an administrator, you're all about getting stuff done. And it's all about getting stuff done in a way that respects and acknowledges all the people around us. I think the best administrators are good listeners, and I think the best administrators, to your earlier point, are good problem solvers. I went to first a small liberal arts school, then I went to a big public, UC Berkeley, then I went to a mid-sized private again in the Midwest, and then Tulane. So having different experiences at different places, it's like, of course I should be an administrator. I've sampled all these different types of university experiences,
The benefits of it.
but I didn't know that was a job.
But was there any obstacles
Well, I mean, the obstacles, I'm fortunate because I was able to find full-time employment all the time, and my family did help me. But I think the biggest obstacles are ones that I've imposed. When I first thought, oh, I think I want to do medicine, but I'm not good at it, is that it's unrealistic to have the whole thing mapped out. I didn't have a calling. So I think very few people have calling. And I think that we don't always give ourselves enough permission and have enough patience to take a bunch of good next steps and see where it leads. Figure out, when I did my doctoral program, okay, I can only go someplace where it's at night because I'm working full time. I had all these restrictions, and then would pick something that met all that. Really, truth be told, that doctoral degree was far more important than some of the little jobs I was doing. I probably should have prioritized my education. So taking those strengths or those moments as opportunities to learn more about, if I'm good at it, that means it's a strength, not that it's easy. I think that would have been better for me to
think about it?
And embrace it.
One thing I thought was funny is you mentioned research. To me, research is history. And I think you said it was your dad that said, who needs history?
Right, that's funny. You're right, because and that is the piece that students struggle with when I used to teach research, and I'd say, okay, they'd propose a research thing. I said, but the most important thing you do is find out what's already been done.